Welcome, guys, back to the Grateful Living podcast. Today, I'm fortunate to have Jamaal Eversley and Stephanie Ayotte with me here today. Jamaal is an abstract artist and community organizer, a 2010 graduate of Babson College, and Stephanie is a working professional who loves designing costumes and clothes and is also a Babson 2010 graduate. Guys, thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
Anytime.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for being here. So I guess Jamal, I'll start with you. Do you want to just give everybody a little bit of background on, um, where you grew up, your family situation, things like that?
Yeah, I'll try to keep it short. But yeah, I'm from Randolph, Mass. Originally, all public school, the high school, and everything like that. My family's from Barbados, so they moved over here in like the late '70s, and was in Boston, and then moved to Randolph, and that's how I ended up going through the school system.
Cool, cool. How
Uh,
how how prevalent was the Barbados background in your childhood?
I mean, it's super prevalent because my entire family is from Barbados. So was raised the Caribbean way. I had a very strict mother, and she taught me. Now that I look back at it now as a man, she taught me discipline and to have discipline. And if that's important if you want to pursue anything in life, like I am right now, you have to be very disciplined in that. Um, so throughout school, um, I was, scared of my mother. So
Are you sure that went away?
I don't know if that's the one away, but so I was very diligent in doing my schoolwork and then everything like that, and that played a role in me getting to Babson College. Um, and we can talk about that a little bit later, but that really played a role in me getting there.
Yeah,
Uh,
especially given what you do now. When were you first introduced to art?
yeah. Um, my father and his side, they're very artistic. Um, I remember my father always drawing cartoons with me since 4 or 5 years old. Um, and I think a defining moment for me to say, you know what, I'm an artist. Was my mom would take me to Disney World. I was lucky. I was one of the lucky kids to go to Disney World a couple times, and I was like 6 years old. And at the Disney Hotel, I remember drawing Mickey Mouse on a mountain. He was holding a flag or something like that.
Yeah.
So many people, I don't know if they're telling me the truth or not, but they were like, "Oh my God, that's so good! You need to sign it." So I signed it like an artist, and from that day on, I remember like yeah, I'm an artist. So I was always drawing from then on, using coloring books because I'm really big into color. That's from I think um, color is a big thing in my family too because of the Caribbean Barbados background. Color is everything in the Caribbean, so coloring all the time, and that's when I was an artist.
Did you go to Babson thinking you would study art?
That's great. That's a great question, man. So when I was in high school, I took all the art classes, of course, but I also was great at math. Um, that's to my mother as well. Um, Always on me for that. And I was in accounting class, and my accounting teacher said you should look into applying for Babson College because she lived right next door to Babson. And so I knew at that time that my mother was not going to agree to me going to art school.
Hmm.
With parents' influence on where you go to school?
Yeah,
That sounds like a very familiar story to me.
yeah. And so I applied to Babson and all the business schools that I could apply to. Um, and at that time, I was like, okay, I'm going to go to Wall Street. I'm going to be on Wall Street with pinstripe suits and have a suitcase and make lots of money. That was my mindset.
I could see you saying that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to Wall Street, I'm going big.
Yeah, I'm going big.
Go
Yeah,
big or go
Yeah.
home.
Yeah.
And that was my mindset at that point in time. Like I was gonna drop the whole artist thing. It's like, oh, that's just a hobby. That's just for fun. And Babson gave me a scholarship, and I went there. And I soon realized within the first few months, not even the first few months, the first few weeks, that I need art in my life. So I took art classes at Babson. I realized that I should have went to business school, but I can't. I mean, art school, but I'm in it now at business school, um, and I was trying to make it work. Trying to make it work, and if I could be real with you, I wasn't being true to myself. Um, it wasn't until I got the internship my junior year at an accounting firm, because I was going for accounting at Babson, obviously,
Yeah.
and I realized after the accounting internship how miserable I was.
Yeah.
Um,
He was not a happy camper.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
and I had if I can be honest, I just had a breakdown. I
Yeah.
said, "This isn't me." I had to be true to myself, and scared as I was, I stood up to my mother and told her I'm an artist. So,
Yeah.
That must have been like ridiculously terrifying.
I
Yeah.
mean, it probably was more terrifying for her when she found out the answer.
Yeah.
All right, good point. Good point.
But yeah, senior year, I said, okay, I'm gonna graduate. But I'm an artist. I'm an artist.
Yeah. Talk to us about that conversation with your parents. That's you're a very young kid at that point.
Mhm. Yeah, 20.
How, and
21.
parents love safety,
No, they sure
and
do.
you know how was that in navigating that?
Yeah, I mean, my mother was going through the whole journey of me the whole time through Babson, so she could understand how unhappy I was, that I wasn't being true to myself in a way. She could sense it. So the day that I told her that, I'm not with the accounting internship, they offered me the job too. They said, okay, um, we want to hire you. Just finish senior year, and once you finish senior year, you got a job ready for you. This is 2009 when the market collapsed,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
and everyone can't find a job. Um, I said, oh, I was like, oh no. I was
Like instead of joy, just like
I was hoping that they didn't give me the job.
Yeah,
I said,
yeah.
okay, dodge that one, but they gave it to me.
Yeah.
just too good. Too
Yeah.
good.
And I remember talking to my mother, and it's like, they gave me the job, mom, but I'm not an accountant. I can't do it. I can't do it. And, she cried, but she understood at that time, really, to be truthful with you. She understood that I had to pursue what I had
Yeah.
pursued. There's my father, that he could, to this day, which is okay, that he can't understand why I'm not taking this job, He's from the Navy, so discipline. I got discipline from both sides. Um, um, so he wanted safety for me and a career path that it's set out. He didn't go to college. My mother did, so he wanted the best for me in his terms. Um, and that conversation to this day still goes on why I don't do the regular thing, which is okay. But
Yeah.
I tell them I have to be true to myself. That's my life motto. Be happy, be bold, be you. You have to be yourself, and I had to be myself, and I have to be happy. Um,
I
so,
think that's reflected a lot in your artwork too. Like that pure joy that you put into your artwork, people see that. That's why they react so positively to it
mm,
because you're being true to yourself. You say, okay, be happy, be bold, be you. And that's exactly what your artwork is.
mm,
At least what I see in it.
thank you.
Like all the colors. Oh man. I had a great conversation last night at one of the events about, the colors and how much joy it brings. So I agree 100%.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
No, that's awesome. That's obviously something I think every human goes through on a daily basis is trying to be authentically themselves and balancing, you know, having a safe career versus trying to go after their dreams. So I just want to commend you
Thank you.
for being true to yourself and going after your dreams. I think anybody listening to this is inspired by your actions.
I mean, I've told you over the phone, like, grateful living is that speaks to my philosophy as well. When you wake up and you're like, okay, I'm being who I want to be. I'm going after what I want, and I'm not trying to make anyone else happier than I can be. You start being grateful for life.
That's great words right there. If I can, I'll transition to Stephanie. Uh, do you want to just kind of do the same thing, like talk about your upbringing and the type of kid you were and things of that nature?
Sure. I mean, I know Jamal's story is always way cooler than,
No,
Savannah,
not
but
at all.
we'll give it a go here. So, I mean, I grew up in Canton, Massachusetts, just, I'd say average kid. I always loved Disney princesses and I loved the American Girl dolls and I loved, just, I loved being girly and frilly and everything. Sports was not my thing. I have a younger brother. That was his thing.
Yeah.
So it was always an interesting mix. But one thing we always did when we were growing up is making things. We always made like anything. My dad and I would do some woodworking. He made me a castle out of wood in the backyard. So I had my own little castle with a drawbridge, and I actually ran into a elementary school friend, and she literally remembered the castle. Like, that was her memory of me was the castle with the drawbridge. I was like,
That's
oh,
funny.
not me, the castle. Okay, thanks. Um, but yeah, we were always making stuff, either woodworking or it was cooking or sewing. Um, I guess one of the most vivid memories I have is I wanted to match my American Girl doll. I had Josephina, um, mostly because my grandmother's name was Josephine, so I was like Josephina, Josephine, same thing. And we uh, we went ahead and my mother she sewed me a skirt that matched Josephina's skirt. When I realized that you could make clothing, that like blew my mind. I was like, wait, this doesn't magically come from a store. Like you can make this? It's like, okay, Ma, sit me down, teach me how to do this. I want to learn. So that was like definitely one of the big defining moments for me. I mean, obviously, I couldn't make clothing when I was 10 years old, but it was a process from there, learning how to do it with her, just in general.
Yeah. Is
Yeah.
that something you continued to do in your high school and college years?
Yeah. So for sewing in general, I mean, as a kid, I started out, I would make skirts and I would make elastic waisted skirts that were long. And oh my God, I could tell you like a whole journey about my skirts. It was an adventure to say the least.
Yeah.
You
But
still have any?
oh, hell no.
Oh, okay.
Those things, nobody wants to see those. They're not pretty. And, oh man, there would be elastic waisted skirts, and I would make them because skirts in general, it's hard to find a good skirt in the store, no matter where you go. So in middle school, high school, I would make skirts because I couldn't find one that I liked.
Mm.
So they were easy enough to make. It's basically like two rectangles that you stitch together and put elastic in it. And so for, 13, 14-year-old, easy enough, fine. I wasn't great at it, but I could do it. I was always known as kind of like the skirt lady in school
Yeah.
because like everybody wore jeans. That was the thing. Me, I'm like, nah, I don't want jeans. I want a skirt. So yeah, definitely that whole process. And Halloween was always my favorite holiday because I could make the costume. Like Jamaal knows, Halloween is one of my favorites. I go all out in my costume. Sometimes I make 2 costumes. It's fine. But yeah, so definitely middle school, high school, and also a big part of it was I was in theater as well. So I would do the school plays. And actually, when I was in, I think it was no, my brother was in elementary school. It was his 5th grade play. So I was probably in like 7th grade or something. One of the directors came to me and was like, "Hey, I have this dress." It was the play The Sound of Music, and she had a sailor's dress. She said, "Okay, I need, how many Von Trapp children are there? Like 6?"
I don't remember.
I don't remember, but he needed basically 5 more of
Yeah.
this dress. And I was, 7th grade. I was like, yeah, I can totally do it. Let's do this. I had never made anything that complicated in my life. My mother, when I tell my mother, she's like, oh God, what are we doing? Why? Why did you do this? But that was definitely like my first big, actually, no, it wasn't my first big project. It was my first big like group project. So that was definitely an interesting time.
Yeah.
So did you make them all?
Yeah, I was stitching them on the way to the play, but I didn't.
That's
With a lot of help from my mother and my uncle.
That's
So
funny. That's awesome.
yeah.
Did anyone ever ask you to make them a skirt?
No, they
Oh.
got off. They were like,
Okay.
I'm good.
That's funny.
Yeah. No, because the skirts were elastic waisted, so they weren't that flattering. And I also had a tendency to make them out of velvet because I always thought they were so soft and luxurious, but going to an all-girls high school, there's a lot of hair everywhere. So when you wear a velvet static skirt, guess what the skirt does? Picks up all the hair. It's really nasty. So it's so gross.
Yeah.
So nobody wanted that. I don't blame them.
Yes. That's funny.
Yeah.
So, I guess talk to us about when you two met first.
Haha. The infamous story.
Yeah, you want to share it?
I can start. You can. I'll tell it from my perspective, and then
Okay.
you see, because I don't know what happened before you met me. So we both went to Babson College, 2010 grads. The first, the first week we were there, they had an event where all of the freshmen could go out, and we went on a boat cruise. So they had like this cool little thing. Before then, I was terrified. It was the first time I had ever lived away from my family because I was on campus. It was a grand total of like 20 minutes away, but still, it was like, oh my God. So I was terrified. I was like, okay, do I really want to go on this boat cruise with all these weird random people? Not really, but am I going to do it? Yes, because I'm a brave person. I kept trying to convince myself of that. So I didn't know anyone. A lot of people, it was Facebook. So like some people had started using Facebook and like knowing each other. I didn't know anybody. I wasn't on Facebook. So I get into this line to go on the bus, and I'm like, I see people talking and chatting. I'm like, I don't know anybody. I get on the bus, I sit in my own little corner by the window, like, okay, whatever. Next thing you know, dude comes up, hey, anybody sitting here? No. He goes, hey, how you doing? My name's Jamaal. And that's from then on out, it was just like super friendship. He introduced me to like all of my friends that night, like literally all of them. So I am
That's awesome.
forever grateful for Jamaal, because otherwise my career at Babson would have been very different.
That's awesome.
I don't know about you, but that's my side of the story.
I think she tells the story very well. The boat cruise was a success because we hung out all night. Then we met LaShonda, who's also in the art show, and the three of us were like the three amigas, for the next 4 years.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. LaShonda and I did a lot of the Babson Players, which is their theater group. We
Yeah.
hung out doing that. But yeah, he also introduced me to like, was Harsh on it? No, Harsh didn't go
I'm
with me,
not
did
too
he?
sure.
No, there's like 2 or 3 other people that he introduced me to that night that just like friendship immediately. Because he knows all the cool people. Like that's what he does. He knows all the cool
There we
people.
go.
I love
That's
hanging
awesome.
out with him. He's like, hey,
Yeah.
how you doing? How you doing?
Awesome. I guess so. I guess I'll transition to after college and maybe Jamal, how were you able to continue to do your art and what is, being an artist in the modern world?
Yeah. So after I graduated, I went to acting school in New York.
Okay.
2010. I went to acting school, Stella Adler Acting Conservatory in Manhattan. I did a summer program over there, and honestly, I think that set my mindset a lot for what I am in right now. I tell people that they were teaching us mindfulness before mindfulness became like the hip word thing, right now. Just being aware around your surroundings. To be a great actor, you have to be aware of your surroundings and always watching, and picking up things and being observing and being aware in your body. These are still things that I carry with me now. Because I'm an actor as well. Um, and so I'm in New York for the summer, and I'm living the actor life. Um, and I'm reading tons of art books. I'm reading tons of like Black history books because right before I left Babson, I took a course at Wellesley College about Black history, and my teacher at that point said you have to know your history to know yourself.
Yeah.
I was like reading poetry in New York when I was there, and so I'm really just like coming into myself now. I said, okay, I'm not going to be an accountant. I'm going to be an artist, actor. I'm just going down that road, learning myself, learning the world. I came back home, and I wasn't doing the art really for like the first two years. I was like really trying to be a full-time actor, and I learned really quickly that acting is like lonely. You know, it's like when you're a kid and it's being picked for like football or basketball, and everyone's getting picked, and you're standing there without the ball, or maybe with the ball, and you're not just no one's picking you,
Yeah.
you know. And
I would not know anything about that. I'm not a sport person.
and and it's just lonely when you can't get anywhere, no matter how hard you try. And I said to myself, man, I miss painting. Painting, you don't have to worry about being picked or anything. You don't have to be on a team. You can just paint all day long and create stuff. And it's like 2000, like late 2011, I started painting again.
Yeah.
I remember that you hadn't picked up the brush for a
I
while.
hadn't picked up the brush for a while. And
Yeah.
I was down acting like can get you down.
Yeah, because what was it? I think I remember you doing one of the like little video skits for a music video.
Uh-huh.
I think that was like pretty cool, but like that was one of your last pieces you had done before you were like, all right, let's go, let's paint.
Right.
Yeah.
I think if you go back to that time period in your life, for someone maybe looking to do, painting on the side or something of that nature, are there pieces of advice you have for things you did right or things you didn't do right at
Hmm.
that time?
Um, I'm gonna I'm gonna talk about like being an artist in general because I think this advice that I got can go into any of the art fields really. I remember this actress told me um, you can't be a part-time actor. If you're a part-time actor, you're going to only find part-time success. You have to go into it all the way. And that's what she said. She went to New York. She dropped everything and went to New York. And that's when she starts finding success, because she's a full-time actress now. You're scared, and I'm scared too. At that time, I have like a million part-time jobs. Uh, I almost do now, but due to coronavirus, a lot dropped off, which is I'm thankful for. We can talk about that later. But um, I started like I never got really a full-time job, and I was just always doing that, just practicing, getting better, always painting. If I'm not painting, I'm reading on my art heroes, learning about it, and you just have to put your blinders on and just be focused. And honestly, I really believe that things just come to you after that. It's just like in the universe, it's gonna come to you.
Yeah. Stephanie, maybe let's do the same with you. After college, were you able to do sewing? And especially as adults, I feel like we often kind of put our passions to the side with all the responsibilities we have.
100%. I mean, even in college, I had wanted to go to
Where's you?
a school.
Were you doing stuff in college?
I was only making my Halloween costumes.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know if you remember. One of my friends had never been trick or treating before. She's from overseas.
Yeah.
So we decided one year to go trick or treating with Ash.
Huh.
And we all got dressed up. And so of course I made Belle, which was one of her favorite characters, and we all go out as trick or treating. It's great. Anyways, I digress. um, yeah, but I mean, like in Babson, I had originally wanted to go to a design school. I had wanted to go to like the New York Fashion Week and either or Mass Art in Boston, just something artsy. But every time I visited them, it didn't feel like me. It was so competitive almost. Every time I went to one of those schools to visit, it was like, oh, art. And you had to have this art mentality. And I was like, I like to sew. Okay, cool, thanks. Bye. So when I found Babson, I was like, okay, well, I can go for entrepreneurship. Like that'll help me start my own art business. And then of course I go there. I don't even have the courage to do that. I went into marketing instead because it was creative. To me, marketing was creative. I was like, okay, I can go this route. It's creative. I'll be happy here. Um, in Babson, like I said, I didn't really do sewing. I did, Halloween costumes, but that was it. And that was actually kind of good because it made me practice what I did know and see, like, because I knew I wasn't a fashion designer at that point. I knew I was sewing and learning skills, but not really, oh my God, this is an amazing fashion designer. So, but once I got out of Babson, I did like everybody else does. I was like, okay, I need to find a job now. Let's go find a job. And the jobs that I picked up were customer service related. Being in customer service, you learn a lot about how to handle people and how to control your reactions, let's say. So, that always took a toll on me,
Yep.
trying to not be myself on the phone and trying to create these relationships that I knew I wasn't like, I'd never see the person on the other side of the phone, but I had to make them believe that the company that I was working for, like, had their best interest in heart, which, the companies I worked for did, but when I come home, I'd be like, I don't like this. This is awful. What am I doing? So I went back into sewing. I was like, all right. I come home, I sit down. Actually, my essay for college entry was all about the hum of the sewing machine and how calming it is to me. So I come home, sit down the machine, go through either frustration or anxiety or just needing to be creative in some way. That's how I would do it. I'd come home and I'd sit down and start sewing. I mean, even then, for a very long time, I mean, even now, really, I make clothing for myself, not really for anyone else, costumes especially, but I recently, probably about 3 years ago, I realized that there's a thing called Comic-Con in San Diego. I'm sure a lot of people knew before me, but I discovered that and realized that there were more people like me who loved dressing up. Like, I love Halloween, I loved dressing up, but there wasn't anybody really around that enjoyed it. Even my friends were kind of like, it's Halloween, whatever. Yeah. So I was like, okay, I must be the odd man out. But when you realize there's like a whole convention full of people that love to dress up, I'm like, I'm there. Let's go. Come on, where are we going? And my brother had moved to San Diego at that point. So I was like, yeah, I'll go visit my brother. We'll go to Comic-Con. It's going to be great. That was 3 years ago, and I made costumes for Guardians of the Galaxy for myself. My brother, he was Star-Lord. His girlfriend, now fiance, she was Gamora, so I made her vest thing. And his best friend was Groot, and I was Rocket.
Nice.
So if you know the characters, you'll understand the different costumes and how different each of them were. And I had to make sure that it fit, the people. So at that point, I kind of feel like I started making clothes for people. Costumes, really, but it was great because costumes are a little more forgiving than clothing. You can kind of like, yeah, that was part of the design element. Whatever, it's fine. So that's when I really felt like, okay, I can start making things for other people now. And from then, I just kind of, from there, the Halloween costumes got more extreme and the convention costumes got more extreme for more people. So this year, actually, I'm doing costumes for my parents. I'm making them be part of this ridiculous coronavirus Halloween.
Nice.
I can't invite my friends over anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't dress up anyways, just saying. But yeah.
I guess a similar question, for someone that might want to get started in sewing, what would you recommend? Is there I'm sure there are plenty of
Where do you
YouTube
start,
channels,
really?
but say
Yeah.
again.
Where do you start, really? How because that's kind of the hard part. Is like, oh, it's so intimidating. It's like, oh my God, I need a sewing machine. I need to buy fabric. I need to find a pattern. Do I need to make a pattern? What do I do? And to be honest with you, just tune out all the noise and focus on, okay, I want to make a skirt. Okay. I find a skirt pattern. You can find them at Joann's when they have them on sale for $2. So not a big investment. Okay, good. And then you find whatever fabric makes you happy. My recommendation is cotton, not silky fabrics, but just pick something super basic and just try it. You don't have to make your first one great. My first one was not great. I can tell you that right now. And having a support group is really helpful. And I think with the internet being so much more prevalent, there are so many resources, either on YouTube. I now follow like 1 million people because of coronavirus on YouTube on how to make things that I have no idea how to make. So just, in taking in all of the information and starting small, it doesn't have to be a big project. Just start small and do something that you love. Like if you start out and you say, I want to make a skirt, but you never wear skirts. Why are you going to make it? You ain't never going to wear it. So why are you going to make it? If you pick something else, pick like a little pillowcase that you can put on your bed, or a little, foldable bag or something. Like, start small and just enjoy the process. I think that's the biggest thing. Enjoy the process. If once you start getting frustrated, then I mean, I do it all the time. It gets thrown out the door. I have a whole pile of unfinished objects in the corner. So
Yeah.
just enjoy that process.
Yeah. I guess, do you now want to start talking about the Real Friends exhibit and how you two collaborated for that?
Yeah, yeah. I think we can talk like 3 years ago when Stephanie started making more costumes for everyone. At that time, I was working at a high-end retail store, and Stephanie would come visit me.
Mhm.
Uh,
Hey, how you doing? What you doing today?
'Cause she has high-end taste as well.
It's fancy up in here.
And I remember talking to her, and at that time, a lot of my friends were telling me, Jamal, your paintings would be so great on T-shirts. And I said, yeah, I agree with you, but I don't want to be. I don't want to make T-shirts. Everyone's making T-shirts that's an artist, which is fine, but I wanted to do something different.
Yeah, I think that's what I like about you. You have to be different. It's don't do the same old thing.
Yeah.
Don't be boring.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's be different.
Yeah.
Be you.
Yeah, and I remember talking to Stephanie. I'm like, Steph, you're super talented.
Oh, thank you.
Making all these designs and these costumes and dresses for people. Like it's time to like really like get into it and make a business out of this, and we can do this together. And I remember it was that night. You remember that night?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were
And
like, Steph, we gotta do it. Okay. I thought he was half joking, to be honest with you. Then it's like, oh no, no, okay, let's go.
so I came over to our house like the next week, and we sat down. Um, I was wearing scarves at the time. I was wearing Kate Spade scarves. And I'm like, I want to wear my own scarf. I want to.
Yeah.
And so we started um, making patterns for scarves. I should flash back a little bit before that. I had a Babson show, art show with LaShonda in 2017.
Yeah, that was cool. I loved that.
Thank you. And I got some material from Ghana, some African print from Ghana. I had went to a trip to Ghana, I think that January of 2017.
Yeah.
And I came to Steph because this is the time that she's really making clothing for everybody. I'm like, I have all this pattern here. Can we sit down and make a shirt for me to wear for this opening at Babson? She's like, yeah, sure. So we sat down and we made a shirt out of these two patterns. One was blue African print, the other was pink African print. So we sat down and it's like, okay, we're gonna color block here, we're gonna color block here. Steph, she's a detail queen, so she had certain details in there, and certain the buttons were all from her. And after that, it just was in my mind that like, wow, we can take my paintings and make clothing out of them. So fast forward, that's when we had that. After that while, we had that conversation at my store, because you could take some of my paintings, match them up, and make shirts for men and skirts for women. Um, and it's been like a snowball effect since then.
Yeah, it really has.
Yeah, and we made scarves first.
Yeah.
And then in 2019, that's when we decided to say we're going to make a men's line and a women's line. And we would sit down and we would draw out different types of shirts that we want, and different types of dresses. And we got the ball rolling. We came
Yeah.
up
Yeah.
with the name Celebrate. Celebrate too.
Yeah. Talk to me about the collaboration process, right? So both of you are pretty good at your craft, but now you're combining these two things. Are there growing pains, or how is
I
that
say
process?
so. I don't know about you, but I say so. because our styles are different. We're very similar in the fact that we like clean lines, but his artwork is very bright, very bold, which is very unique. I absolutely love it. But I tend to have a more muted wardrobe, so trying to figure out how to bring that bright vibrancy into the clothing that something I would wear every day was a challenge for me. Um, I absolutely love that we did this because I think it helps me grow as a person to really push myself into using things that I wouldn't typically use and then produce something that I actually really love is even better. So I think that collaboration helped expand my, I guess, artistic ability, if you will, on how to look at a piece of clothing, a piece of artwork, and bring in those different concepts and designs, even if they're not my own, how to work with them and really make them the best that they can be.
Yeah, I'll riff on that and say that collaboration, collaboration really for Steph and I at the very least um, increase the trust
Oh
between
yeah.
us and the communication. Because we we come from different backgrounds. We have different communication styles. So it's like learning that to say, okay, I personally have to approach stuff a certain way. So I know that I can get the point across that I need to convey. And no feeling to her on either side. And I know that she knows where I'm coming from and that my heart's in the right place. And
Yeah, so that when he comes over and says, Steph, that looks like crap, I'd be like, okay, I get it. It's fine.
yeah.
Yeah, because there were definitely a couple pieces, and you're like, I don't understand what this is, because I'm not a good artist at all. Like I cannot draw for beans, and and he can draw, and so trying to get my idea, which I would normally just like stitch together and be like this, I can't do that for a whole piece, so I have to
Yeah.
figure out, okay, this is how we describe on, or have him draw out what he's talking about because he can do that, and I'd be like, oh yeah, this is what you mean.
Yeah.
Yep.
Can you talk about the process of creating an exhibit? You know, your exhibit now is open till November 1st.
The November 1st at Beacon Gallery. Yep.
Awesome. So like, especially as someone who's not an artist, right? To me that seems like such a scary proposition. Is this some like, in business you always have like a plan. How do you come up with the exhibit that you come up with? Is it just you brainstorm, or is there a plan and you execute? What's the process there?
Yes, it's true. I'm happy now that I went to business school because art, fashion, this company that Stephanie and I have is a business. Everything's a business. So yes, to pull this off, I had to have a plan. Um, uh, how do you envision it from the beginning of the art show to the ending of the art show, and then um, 2 years before that, like I've been working on this for 2 years now. So step by step, writing down, okay, 5 months to go. Um, all this should be checked off on the list, and going down the line. 2 months to go, 1 month to go, and 1 month with inside the show. You have to have a checklist and keeping accountability.
Yeah, and I'd say having a great project manager like Jamaal is key because without him being like, "Yo, Steph, we gotta do the thing," I wouldn't have known. Like I just don't have that side of the art show to me. Like I'm like, okay, I'll give you the stuff, but he's done such an amazing job bringing, what is it, 12? 12
Yeah,
of us?
yeah.
There's 12 people in the show, 12 people together and keeping them in line. He's done such a great job of being that project manager and really following those steps and making sure everybody hit the key points and key dates that they needed to.
I guess that comes down to what I was talking about earlier with the discipline. from my mother.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
She was always on my back. Oh, this is the deadline, right? So I guess no,
Hey, it works. It works, right?
it's
Mom
definitely made me
always
feel like I'm
helps.
my mother now.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do
Hi, mom.
Do you want to talk about, I guess, the themes and what you hope people that see the exhibit
Yes, yes.
feel?
So as you had mentioned, the title is called Real Friends. So it's the collaboration of me working with 12 of my best artist friends, definitely being one of them in fashion. And it's centered around um, the nerd in love, Spencer Ward. I didn't talk about this earlier, but in high school and in grade school and all that, I was called Steve Urkel, and I'm still called Steve Urkel. And I was good at, I told you, I was good at math and numbers, but I wanted to be cool. I felt like I wanted to be cooler than Steve Urkel. But when I grew up, I realized that it is cool to be a nerd, and that we're all nerds in something. Um, you know, I might research a lot in math, and I might research a lot in poetry, research a lot in art. Stephanie might research a lot in fashion and design and costuming and everything. And I know you research a lot in what you may research. If you want to share that, but um, in that sense, we're all nerds, right?
Yeah.
So he is a big piece in all the collaboration pieces that I'm working on with my friends. And in the fashion, we have some shoe designs, we have woodworking and steel. So he's in all of it. And it's really just to show that if you want to create something that's bigger than you, if you want to create something that's going to be inspirational for others, you have to work outside of yourself. You have to work in a team and unity to bring a bigger picture together. Um, and that's what real friends is about.
that.
That's what true friend real friendship is about. It's about your friend is gonna make you a better version of yourself.
Which goes hand in hand with what I was saying earlier. Like, if I had never set out to do this, be on this journey with you, my clothing would not be as colorful and probably would be pretty bland. So having that collaboration and really being a part of your friend's life, you get that sense when you come in here too. I hadn't seen any of the artists' other art collaborations work until I saw the show. It blew me away just seeing everybody's take on Spencer Ward and on friendship and love. It's so impactful and so cool. And he was right, 2 years ago when he said, "Hey Steph, I think we should do this." I was like, "Cool. I think that sounds like a good idea." But seeing it today, it's yes, this is what the world needs to know. And it kind of comes at the perfect time too. When everybody's so divided, this really shows you that friendship and collaboration is the key. That's what life is made up of. It's making friends and being in love and being happy and just trying to make that collaboration work.
Yeah. For someone out there that might be trying to, get to the point where you two are in terms of being able to exhibit your art, at a gallery like Beacon Gallery, do you have any pieces of advice for them on how you got yourself to this point?
Mhm. Um, I don't know if it's cliche or not, but honestly, there is no path, right? But there's only one way, and that's the way is not to give up.
That is so true.
That's it. Really, like it took. I've been doing like I told you since 2010. I've been an artist. Claim myself a professional artist since 2010. 2020 now. Then it took 10 years. Of course, I had other art shows and I had other art shows in galleries that's not in Boston, which and that's part of the stepping stone. There are other galleries that were in Randolph and then Brockton, which believed in me. That's a stepping stone. It gave me confidence, and you just keep on going, one step. The next step might be harder. And you step on that, and who knows? You might get several rejections, and you take another 2 steps down, and you're like, you look yourself in the mirror, and you're like, should I keep doing this? But you have to believe in yourself and say, yes, this is what I want in my life. This means something to me. And you just keep doing it, and you keep talking to people, and you keep telling them about your dreams and your passions. And then until Christine, who was on your show, I met her 2 years ago, told her about Spencer Ward and the nerd and the life that I'm living. And she believed in it. And she gave me a chance. And I respect her. I respect her. Those are the types of people that you want in your life. They might be hard to find, but if you keep talking and you keep doing it, they're gonna surface. They're gonna show up. And then you have friends who's gonna advocate for you. And you advocate for each other.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
that's the other thing about this show, Real Friends. I always read these books, these philosophy books, and they say that when you're down, you feel down in your life, you shouldn't be going within yourself. That's not the time that you should go in yourself. That's when you should go out. You should meet up with your friends because they're gonna lift you up. They're gonna lift your spirits, and that's what it is. When you feel down, that's the time that you should be going out, and that's the time that you should keep on going. And that's what I have to say to that.
I think a part of that is also bravery. Like people can say like keep pushing, and you know, I think part of that is there's so much bravery to do that. Not many people have the ability to push past that because they're too scared. And I'm definitely one of those people. Like there have been a couple times in my life where I'm like, I should, do my sewing full time. I should do my sewing full time. But I get scared. I'm like, nope, not gonna do it. I can't do it. I'm not brave enough to do it. So the fact that you're able to overcome that and see within yourself, like, yes, I can keep doing this. That to me is bravery. I think that's absolutely amazing. And I think especially the belief that you have in yourself and the people that you surround with, I think that's also a really good point too. Surround yourself with positive people who will lift you up. I think that's a really important piece of it too.
You know, you've talked about Jamal having a lot of part-time jobs through this journey, and Stephanie just mentioned bravery. Was there ever a point where you felt like, man, I'm just, it's not working. I'm gonna just stop trying to be a full-time artist, and I'm gonna just, go into the corporate world and play it safe, and maybe just do painting, here and
I
there. But
remember that day.
Okay.
I remember that day. You go ahead, you tell him. But I remember that day that he had that doubt.
Yeah. I mean, no, I did it. I had that. I mean, I would be lying to you if I don't say I had that doubt almost every day. I would really be lying to you. I do. Every day I wake up and I say to myself, today will be the last day that I'm gonna try to make this work. I do, you know.
And that's where I say, don't do it, keep going.
Yeah,
Don't quit now. Come too freaking far to go. Let's go.
yeah, you have those friends that keep you going.
yeah,
Or just pull through, but it's true. I do have that. But I don't know. It was like 2014. I went and got a full-time job, and I was doing accounts receivable.
Receivable or payable?
Whichever the one that you had to go collect the bill, a bill collector, basically.
yeah.
I can't think of the term right now, but
It's been too long. It's
yeah.
been flushed out of your brain. Get rid of it. Get rid of it.
And I remember it's like I was back at the accounting firm again. I remember going into work And I had a great boss who wanted, he's like, he wanted me to be the supervisor one day and all that. And just calling people, hounding them for the money that they owed the company. And I did that for 9 months. And I almost had a mental breakdown again, like back at Babson. Like it was like a flashback. I'm like, oh heck no. I'm going back to being an artist. That was 2014. So that's the last time I had like a full time job. That's my only full time job actually since I graduated.
And
Yeah.
I definitely remember that day. I remember he came to me, he was like, Steph, I can't do it.
I
This
do.
is draining me. I don't know how you do it every day, like going into work.
Yeah.
I can't do it. Like, I get you. I feel you. Some days I just come home, I don't talk to anybody, and I sit at my little machine and go for it. So
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you guys each individually talk about, how you get into your zone of, painting and sewing? Do you listen to music, or I mean, just, or do you, it comes at random times, or how do you produce the works that you do?
You want to go?
Here we go.
For me, there's sometimes that I think all artists go through this that you just don't create work or want to create work. So during those times, I'm doing a lot of reading, to find inspiration. Going out for walks, I'm going to the museums. Um, like the past two big art shows, I had the big art show at Babson College in 2017 that I was telling you about with Lashonda, and this one, um, I traveled actually. I went to Ghana for 2017 and just soaked it all up, from being an actor, just being immersed in the culture and observing everything. And I brought that and I put that into that show. For this one, last year, I went to Switzerland for their big art fair, Art Basel, and I just again soaked it all up and brought that and put that into the show. Um, so that's where I get the energy. At least for these two shows, I could tell you I got the energy for that.
Yeah.
I think for me, a lot of it has to do with what event or what's happening around me. So for my costumes, it's usually in relation to an event like Comic Con. I find it's either the first one was actually when, you know, Guardians of the Galaxy had just come out. So I was super inspired by all the costumes. I thought it was a great movie, hilarious. And we had enough people to kind of go around and do it. So I was like, yes. Um, what I find interesting though is even when I do all the costumes, the first step is really research. It's okay, what does this outfit look like? What details are on it? Because, like you said, I like details. So, what details are on this that get me really excited? Like, is it this, crazy looking button that they have on the outfit, or is it, whatever type of design they have on the cuff or the collar, whatever it is? Trying to find exactly how it's going to be, and then trying to then take that and work with what I have, what patterns I have or what fabric I can find and say, all right, next step, let's go. And I just get so excited. I don't know if you can tell right now, but I get so excited in this
Yeah.
process. I'm like, oh my God. So I have to, it's almost like a treasure hunt for me. So you find the outfit that you want, you say, okay, now these are the pieces I want. Where can I find those pieces that will match perfectly or close enough or how do I get that? And then putting it all together, it's like it's finally coming together. You cut it out and you're like, ooh, it's gonna be so cool. Cutting it is always like the most tedious part for me because it takes like forever. But once you get over that initial hump, it's like, oh, okay, back in the game. And just trying to keep that motivation alive and that creativity alive, always finding that next piece that really excites you is so much fun. I guess I just love sewing a lot. So trying to either recreate something from a picture or whatever's in my head, trying to make people see it as well. that like research and creative process of putting it out there so people can see really gets me excited, and always having a deadline for me is really important.
I was just about to say. I was like,
Yeah.
I wasn't too sure if she was gonna say that. But I was gonna bring it up. But
A deadline.
the deadline,
Yeah.
that's I know the best work when
Yeah.
it comes to the deadline.
Yes,
Yeah.
always give me. Otherwise, you're not
best
gonna
work-
see anything.
The best work is when Stephanie has a deadline. Like
Yep.
it goes from just fabric to like this.
Yeah.
Like she did this. She did this jacket in what, a week?
I think, yeah, a week.
Yeah, I think it was
was a
actually like
week.
a week to go before the
Wow.
show opened.
Yeah. He's like, where's
Yeah.
the piece? Where's the piece? I'm
Yeah.
like, it's coming.
No, I wasn't even stressing because I know that's how she works. So it's just
Yeah.
like.
Yeah, I definitely need a deadline, or nothing's coming out. It'll get there. I'll get there. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, give me a deadline though, otherwise it's not coming.
Yeah. Can you guys talk a little bit about Celebrate and what you're looking to do there together?
So, chime in there anytime, Steph. But yes, um, first off, like I said, we did the scarves. You can see the one right there in the background,
the silk.
silk scarves. But
I wait one point on that silk scarf. Only for my friends will I do things that I hate. So the silk scarf, number one, silk is very difficult to work with. It's very slippery, right? But number two, Jamal comes up and he's like, Steph, can you hand roll this for me? I hate hand sewing. Only for Jamal will I hand sew pieces of artwork. So
so
that's a friendship right there. Okay.
it makes that silk scarf very special for whoever likes it and wants it.
Yes.
But yeah, so we
Wow.
started making pattern scarves.
That's awesome.
With my artwork. That was last year.
Yeah, that was last year.
Beginning of last year, and they come in silk and chiffon. And beginning of this year, that's when we were since last year we were always making designs for the men's wear and the women's wear, and this year they came about.
Yeah. We'd been kind of planning it for a while, thinking of, what do we want it to look like? And then this year just happened to be the year that everything kind of came to fruition and saying, all right, let's put the pedal to the metal. We're gonna go for it. And I think it's worked out really well. We've gotten some really great feedback on some of the scarves. We did, since coronavirus, we now have masks.
Yeah,
Well,
the
not mine,
mask.
but his the masks, they're up on the wall too. Those have been really well received, and
Yes.
I love them because it brings the color and vibrancy of life that Jamal has in his artwork, and it brings it. Like, masks are boring. They're something you need. Why not make it happy? Why not joyful? Be you. Be bold. So
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, the like Steph said, the mask's been a hit, and for the future, we're just gonna expand on the men's line and the women's line and kids line soon.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
We got an excellent little model.
We have we got a model for kids line.
He's so
Awesome.
cute.
So that's the wave. Stephanie, we're gonna have a fashion show here on October 15th that people can attend via Zoom. Stephanie's working on a skirt for that. So we're just gonna continue expanding those two lines, making more different styles of scarves.
Yeah.
I would say this is the cornerstone of Celebrate.
Yeah, the scarves definitely. And I think especially as we get closer to the winter season and the holiday season, people are gonna want the brighter happiness and something easy that you can, just throw around your head just to keep warm or be like ooh la la. Because yoga pants are great, but I need some color. So
Yeah.
I think that'll definitely be coming. And we actually have plans to make more styles too. So I'm very
Yes.
excited about that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Was there anything that I didn't ask that you guys wanted to talk about?
I would just say whoever's watching this and listening, because I know there's going to be tons of people, come to the gallery. Beacon Gallery, 524 Harrison Ave in Boston. Um, Real Friends is up until November 1st. Uh, the gallery is open from 11 to 3 on Sundays. Otherwise, other days you can go on the website and make an appointment, and Christine will be here to show you around because this is something that you have to see. Come in the back. This is where you're gonna see this awesome denim jacket
Mhm.
with this
Lovely evening dress.
evening
It
dress.
could be a summer dress too. I mean, it's getting its fall, but it could be a summer just hanging out. Give me a glass of wine dress.
Yeah.
So.
And you can try them on, see if they fit.
Mhm.
You know, you can try on well, you can't really try on the mask, but you can see the mask that we have and touch the scarves and see. So this is definitely a show to see and cheer you up.
Yes,
So that's what I
definitely
would say.
cheerful. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's what I
Awesome.
love. And
Awesome.
I guess for me, just I kind of bring it back to the podcast, but I am supremely grateful to have been in a part of this process with Jamaal. Like the fact that he's allowed me to be a part of this and be chosen as one of the artists. I'm like flabbergasted and super grateful because I never thought I'd ever be in a gallery. I never thought I'd be part of such an amazing collaboration. So, I definitely get the sense that that's the same way with all of the other artists in this show as well. And you can feel that when you walk in. So I definitely encourage everybody to come see. It'll brighten your day. Um, yeah, and I think it's just been an amazing journey. And I can't ever say that I thought I'd be doing this when I was 10 years old. So, just to see the growth of, and it takes a while. I'm not gonna lie, it takes a long time, but when you're there, you're like, oh my God, this is amazing. I'm so excited,
Right,
so proud of everything. So
right. You look back on your life and you see the progress that you made, and you become grateful for that.
mhm. And
That's true. That keeps you going,
Yeah.
taking the next step.
yeah, you can
Yeah.
never see it when you're in it. It's always looking back, it's like, oh yeah, that thing I did. That was a good thing.
Yeah. No, that's great. Jamal and Stephanie, I want to just thank you for being on. You can tell the genuineness that you guys have and the love for each of your passions, your respective passions, and I think the themes of the exhibit are awesome, especially in a time like now where it feels like the world is only divisive. So highlighting the power of friendships and love is a great thing. For people that want to maybe follow you guys or support you or reach out to you, can you talk about where they can do that?
Mhm. For me, you can also we have celebrate cards. Celebrate. Um, we're working on the Etsy website right now for that. That's coming very soon. But you can find me on Instagram and all social medias at Sir J Evs. That's SirJayEvs. Um, just shoot me a message, or you can see all my content that I have there. And what I tell you about my life here, you're gonna see there. Like I don't hide anything. Um, so that's how you can find me and find more about Celebrate as well.
Yeah. And for anyone who wants to check out my stuff, you can follow me on Instagram. I'm definitely not as much of a social media guru as Mr. Jamaal, but he definitely has more of the cool stuff out there. But if you want to see some of the costumes I've made, some and keep track of some of the Celebrate clothing that we're working on, my Instagram handle is at the Sassy Principessa, which is TheSassy Principessa. It's quite long. Apologies, but Principessa is princess in Italian, and that's me. Italian definitely has a strong play on who I am. So, and I, as Jamaal likes to point out I am quite sassy at times. So
And a
combine the
princess.
two. And the
Yeah.
prince, yeah. I am a princess. See my crown?
That's
So,
awesome. Perfect. Thank you guys so much for being on.
thank you.
Thank you. It's
Thank
been
you.
great.
Yeah, it's been great.
Awesome.